This is usually the part where we say something funny or just quick before the intro.
Not funny always.
Not funny necessarily, but something.
Well, we'll try. Anyway, this is a review for Evenfall.
This is the review for the board game Evenfall, the good and bad about it.
By the end of this video, you will know if you should even look at it.
So we have 5 questions that we will answer in this video, but before we do that, Giannis, what is this game all about?
Evenfall is a tableau building card game with some worker placement.
In this game you play wizards or witches.
Can you say that?
Witches.
Listen, all you witches, it's about you.
These witches we are talking about are trying to get the most victory points, and you can get those victory points by playing out different spiritual places. These places of power have resources that they will generate, and you can add rituals to them.
And you play specialists and council members, essentially just play cards in one sentence.
And you will place them in a bunch of different places, and each of those places will give you different kind of benefits.
On your turn, you can do one of the actions, and actions are play a card or send your witches to do a certain action.
You can place them, for example, here, which means you get a new card of place of power.
Another place where you can send your witches are onto these action spaces, which will give you resources, more cards.
When you play rituals, they will open up new spaces where you can also send your witches. There are different resources which basically all do the same thing. You can buy cards, and mana is also a kind of resource that you will use for fighting. Also, you all will play a bit of asymmetric player board, where each player will either get more cards at the beginning of the game but can't do certain thing, and others can do that certain thing.
You're gonna be playing 3 rounds, you get new cards, you play actions and send out your witches and elders, then you will have a battle, which just means you will spend mana you got and count up your witches and get rewards here, and the one who spent the most gets an extra teeny reward, and then you will reset everything and start over.
So there's a lot of things going on here, but we're gonna talk a lot more about them. So we should jump to the first question, which is...
Who would you get this for?
3, 2, 1. Sergio. He's our Board Game Hangover family member, and he's very active in our Discord server, and he usually really likes Euro games. He actually mentioned that he really enjoyed this game, and when I read that and playtested this game more, I thought, I see why. It is a Euro game through and through. It's a fun engine builder.
Well, I have artsy gamers. I love the way this game looks. And if you like really colorful, unique looking artwork components, it's great. And it's a gamer's game, like you said, but it's a really pretty one. And I feel like it's easier to get people into a game like this. What are the 3 best things about this game? My 3rd best things are visuals. It doesn't have cubes. It doesn't look like a Euro game, and when you play it, you're like, oh, it's a Euro game. It's colorful, it's bright.
The cover is really good. It gets a lot of people's attention for sure, and if you have it in your collection, I bet you from time to time people will come in and ask you, what's that? Witches! You have just 4 at the beginning of the game until you unlock places for your elders. In these spots especially, it's really thrilling trying to be the first one there, but especially at the last few rounds, I feel like everybody is trying to get there as quickly as possible. Also, opening these spots for yourself with your rituals is super huge. I would say the most satisfying part. The engine actually starts spinning when you open up worker placement places.
Yeah.
Because those are the most unique things. For example, you can place a worker here, pay this amount and get victory points as well. But usually opponents will get something as well out of it, or you can copy somebody else's card.
Yeah.
That's how you start your own engine.
I have places and choices. I really like how the card play works here. So there are 2 types of cards. Persons, aka specialists, which you can play in 2 spots. The other type of cards are these rituals, which can only be played on top of the places of power. And then they will score points at the end of the game. And if they're on top, they generate resources. If they move down, they don't, but they will give you points. So when do you move them down?
And my number 2 thing is symmetry. It gives a lot of replay value when you have all these characters that work differently. This one gets more cards. This one is more interested in winning combat. You have guy that
has a worker placement space right on top of the board.
And I feel like to win the game, you really need to be efficient with your unique asymmetry.
Okay, my best thing are multi-use cards. My favorite thing about games in general. We can discard cards for resources. We can play them here for effects, here for endgame scoring or scoring general. We can play them here for worker placement plays. So many things you can do with cards. I really like games like that.
Card anatomy. There's a lot of things in one single card. Not just the fact where you can place them, but just if you see one card, you can see that you can get these resources when you gather resources. You can add extra winning points if you win combat and add stones there. One single card has a lot of information, and maybe at beginning feels too much, but once you get going, it's not that difficult.
Why this game might not be for you?
So the
Yes.
combat. When you have done playing cards and getting cards, it's the third phase and you fight.
Well, no, you don't.
Whoever has the most power here, including mana that you can spend, gets one benefit. And that benefit will give you 2-3 points maybe?
Well, underwhelming is what it feels like.
I don't care. Never cared about it.
If your power is 8+, you receive all rewards. It doesn't matter if you had the most power. One player who had the most gets a little token that can like double the points of one of your cards.
Exactly, I went for the rewards but never thought about, I want to beat you. I always knew who's gonna win. It's always felt obvious.
It's gonna be super low here. It's almost no interaction. There is some. There's bidding thing, then you can use some of their cards from other players.
Quickly going here, that's
Yeah.
always the first thing everybody watches.
Yeah,
I have to go to places so nobody takes them.
But it's very little. It's nowhere near Dune Imperium.
So I have cards plus luck. There's a bunch of cards, especially if you're playing the one house where they pick up 9 cards at the beginning of the game and you're just getting started. Then there's a lot of text, like look at this, all of them unique cards, which is great. It sometimes might feel paralyzing. You get rid of that problem real quick after a few plays. Plus also the luck factor. If you get really cool cards and good combo, it's great. At the end of the game, I got a card that I could put here and that like multiplies 3 times the points I've gotten from some rituals or something. And then it's like massive. If you get lucky, you get a lot of points.
Yes, that's exactly what I'll put on the same line. Everything you said. But there are ways to get more cards and you can try to...
It's always the way to overcome it. Make sure you have a good drawing system, but not all players will have those cards that let them draw cards.
Well, there is this one spot for everybody. 2 people can draw extra 3 cards. So luck of the draw is going to happen here. I don't feel that it kills the game for me.
The last thing is personality. I don't feel like I'm doing magic stuff or anything here. It's just random worker placement. I do agree that these cards look really, really great, but it's not a one perfect clean system. So for me, it's it lacks a bit of that personality, and I don't know why.
Because I feel like it's a unique theme. It doesn't have like, oh, we're producing goods here and shipping them there.
So let's move on to the next question. For the first time, we're skipping honeymoon and going straight to...
What is the best alternative?
2-1 Everdale. You are building it to blow, placing your cards, which also open up worker placement. You also have worker placement to get your stuff somewhere, to get resources, to buy new cards, and then after a while you get again new resources, which is basically this game. Only witches here.
Mine's Terraforming Mars. It's probably sacrilege to say, but I never play with drafting. What you get is what you get, and then you have to play those. And here I have the same feel. What I get is what I get, and I play those, and then I have to build around it. And I had the same feel, just a bunch of cards, yeah. What's the final rating? Oh, good thing we cut out that honeymoon, so it's so much quicker.
By the way, we're recording this for the 3rd time because first time battery was hosted and we didn't film it. The 2nd time audio cut out, so this is just the 3rd time. What's the final rating?
I don't even want to talk about it by this time.
3, 2, 1. It's good.
It's very good and it's very pretty. I mean, you didn't hear it, but we talked a lot of good things about this. Convinced you to give this one a go. I feel that this game is a very good Euro game and it differs itself from all the other generic looking Euro games. I'm not talking about mechanics, generally just the looks and the feels, and I feel that it gives itself a personality. Maybe not as unique as we're used to. Very good Euro game that looks nothing like a Euro game usually would look.
I enjoyed my playthroughs with it, but I'm not putting it in my collection, so not a must-have. It's missing for me that it factor, so it's not a fantastic as well. But overall, really good. I think if you would buy this game and have it in your collection, you would feel really good about it.
It also comes down to how many games you've played generally. Because we are like,
Sure.
oh, I'm sorry, I've seen this somewhere before already. I don't feel it's as good as my wonderful boutique of games. But if you're not like that, you might think this is fantastic or even a must-have game. I am not getting rid of it outright, ever.
That's not a good rate. I'm not throwing it out just yet. It's a
Cut
great
this.
rating.
No.
Good.
Cut.
Good.
No,
Let's
don't
go
put...
on.
We don't need this in the... No, it's a very good game. I want to play it. I want to play it a lot.
And then throw it out.
No. Anyway, thanks for watching. Do you feel this game looks really good for a Euro game?